On this episode of Purposely Curious, we discuss the ongoing saga between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Johnny Depp was accused of domestic violence and called a wife beater by The Sun despite there being ample evidence that Amber Heard may have lied multiple times and was herself an aggressor. Get nice and cozy as we dive into this drama-filled case as this episode starts now. Hello, Leonie.
Greetings, Mary. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
It's hot, isn't it?
It is beyond hot. It's scorching hot.
Yeah. But you have centralized air, I remember. And I hate you for that.
Yeah, I do. In both places I do have. So, yeah, I kind of have to, though. If I don't, then I'd be in big trouble.
Yeah. It's been really hot today. So, I woke up really early, because I had to go do some errands. And so I was kind of in downtown LA and it was 102 and it was fucking 11.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm not built for this. And I have, leather seats. I'm not even sure if they're legit leather, but my Volkswagen has seats that aren't horrible in the heat, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I hate it.
Yeah, what sucks about downtown at this time of the year is you're just surrounded by concrete and asphalt, so it just reflects all the heat and retains all the heat.
Concrete jungle.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where no matter where you go, it's gonna be super hot, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy. And then like I said, in my apartment there's no centralized air.
Right.
So it's definitely been pretty hot. I came home, I think I took a nap, and Lord, when I woke up I felt worse. But I think it's because of the heat.
Right.
I just felt horrible. But anyways, other than that, how are you? Tell me, anything new?
No, just working on, projects and stuff, just keeping busy, normal routine over here, enjoying the summer, just enjoying this heat, spending time outdoors when I can, and then, indoors when I don't have to,
Yeah. I actually went to Mammoth last weekend.
Oh, nice.
So that was nice. That was my first trip since this whole COVID started. And it was it's one of my favorite places to go to.
Yeah, it's nice
I've been there. Yeah, I've been there quite a few times. And so I prefer it in the summer, because there's so many places to go to. So
Right.
That was nice. And, I enjoyed myself. So now I'm going to hermit as much as possible until my next trip, whenever that is.
Nice.
So we'll see.
Very nice.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm over this heat basically. So I'm excited for winter. Hopefully we have a good one. But yeah.
What's a good winter for you? A cold winter or a mediocre winter?
I like cold. I find it cuddle weather. But I like the rain because I really enjoy that. So, when we were having the drought out here in California,
Right.
it would never rain. So the last 2, maybe 3 years, we've had substantial rain. Not as much as we've probably had in the past, but
Right.
it's just beautiful after. And I love that, as you guys know, I drive for work. So the scenery of the clear skies with the clouds and everything just looks so green and beautiful. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
I don't mind it either way, because sometimes, when it's too cold, I don't like being indoors with everything closed when it's too cold. That's pretty much flu season, and this year it'll be COVID flu season. And
Yeah.
It's I don't like it when things are just, when you have to have the heater on and everything has to be closed, and it's just no, this is too much, it's
Yeah.
I'll still sleep with the windows open, I'm just I don't care, so I hope it's not that cold,
Yeah. You and I are complete opposites in that end. Yeah. I like it. You know, everything you said, like I like it when it's closed. Everything's closed because it's cold and I got my sweats on, my fluffy socks. You know, and then being warm under the sheets. Now it's like, oh, I'm sweating. Like,
Yeah.
I can't wear my fluffy socks. And I'm all about having soft feet.
Yeah, it's not fluffy sock season right now. It's not at all.
No. But anyway, I hope I know it's not the hottest it's going to be, but I'm hoping.
No, it's going to be 106 Wednesday, by the way.
Where you live?
Yep.
Ooh. And keep in mind, guys, he lives, how many miles did we say you live from me?
It's 22.
22 miles. So Wednesday here is going to be 87. So that just goes to show you the difference in temperature.
I know, but 87 where you live, for you, you're dying, you know?
Oh, yeah.
For me, it's like, oh, it's perfect, you know?
Yeah. And this heat has been kind of like humid, right? I think there's like a tropical storm off the coast.
Yes, there is. And I don't know, I've kind of heard some rumblings about a monsoon. So this tropical humidity is coming at a very high altitude, which sucks because they kind of just linger and it makes everything feel like Florida, you know? So it's just not pleasant. Like, I don't mind.
Yeah.
I've been in 127 degree dry heat, and that's not bad because it's dry. But the second you throw in some humidity, it's just like, get me out of here, you know?
Yeah. Ugh, I know, humid.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. We used to have like dry heat out here.
Yeah.
But it's been changing recently.
Yeah.
So, did you see my question stories yesterday on Instagram?
I did.
So, what do you think about me doing ASMR with you one day?
We want to do it tonight or what?
No, I'm just throwing it out there. I've had a few people say that. So we could try it one day.
Yeah.
Only if you're up for it.
I think it's a good idea.
Okay. So we'll figure out how to market that episode.
Turn it up real loud.
Okay.
Real loud.
This is for Anna.
Hello,
Anna. Hi, Anna.
Nice to meet you, Anna.
Yes. Some people are like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. What does ASMR even stand for?
Well, I had never heard of it. But I actually have it up here. It signifies a subjective experience of low-grade euphoria characterized by a combination of positive feelings and a distinct static-like tingling sensation on the skin. It is most commonly triggered by a specific auditory or visual stimuli and less commonly by intentional attention control. I guess that's the legit kind of definition of it.
Yeah.
But basically there's a huge market on YouTube, you name it, where people listen to people whisper or open packages, you know, like that's my impression of opening a package. With millions of views. So
right.
So apparently my voice triggers that on some people. So I thought it was funny.
We have such a pleasant voice, you know, and I think it works at any level. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like when you have such a pleasant voice to listen to, I think it's, you know, when you start to like talk softer, it's even nicer. And then you start to whisper, it's even nicer. So it's kind of one of those auditory, like, you know, things where people are like, wow, you know, and yeah, people enjoy that stuff. Like, you know, the sounds of different objects, you know, tape being pulled off or, you know, stuff being scrubbed or whatever, you know, but then it's like voices are also a thing.
Yeah. So it stands for autonomous sensory meridian response.
Yes.
So I had never heard of that before until recently. So watch out, guys. We might do one.
Well, if you're willing, we can do it whenever you want.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. So I guess we can get to our episode. We had done an episode on the Johnny Depp Amber Heard saga a few months back. And it to this day has been the most downloaded episode that we've done.
Wow.
When we put it out, I did not realize, and maybe you did, but I didn't realize like that the week or 2 weeks after that, they were going to have that court date in England.
Right.
So I think that's what kind of made the episode kind of blow up. And there was a lot of stuff that I didn't know that came out in the court proceedings, which is kind of sad that everything was out there. They talked about some lies, that we had discussed in our previous episode.
Right.
But more details kind of came out. And so I wanted to do kind of like a follow-up. And also, the trial in the UK is basically, I don't know how the UK system works. It looks like it works differently than here.
Yes.
Because when I was kind of reading some of the transcripts as it was happening, it was almost like the lawyer for the son can just say whatever they want to, it just seems weird. I feel like, again, I'm not trying to knock them over there because I don't understand the legal system over there, but it didn't seem as professional as I guess what we see here in the States, in a factual type of, I don't know, it was weird. Did you read any or see any of the transcripts where it seemed like the son's lawyers were just throwing out lies and accusations, and it was kind of weird. I don't know.
I did, and there's a reason for that. I kind of put two and two together after it was done, because after it was done, and we'll get to that, a little bit later. But when it was done, there was stuff still being. There were tactics on both sides that were still being executed, and I was thinking, why would they do that? What's the point of that? And then I realized that, there's a reason for that, because the judge is going to decide. And he's not going to decide right now, or tomorrow. There's no jury. There's there's nobody just, it's one of those things where the judge's going to decide like a month or two from now,
Yes. And you are the one who told me that, because I kept telling you, I keep looking for the verdict, and I don't know. I had no idea. I thought it would be like it is here.
Right.
And you're the one who filled me in that it takes a while. So I had no idea.
Yeah.
So I wasted time on my end.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's just I think people are just not clear as what how the system works, but the problem is that between the closing statements and the decision by the judge, whether it's a month or 2 or 3 months away, the problem is that there's a lot of influential time points right there that can happen at any point in time. In other words, both sides are banking on the judge turning on the TV and seeing a story or another news article on her, that targets her and says, hey, we're going to discredit her again because she's a liar. Her sister's a liar. Her friends, are telling the truth, and they're against her. You know what I'm saying? So anything, it's like the spaghetti approach. They're throwing spaghetti at the wall, and they're trying to see whatever sticks.
Yeah.
And I think both sides are doing that right now.
Yeah. And so, like we said in our last podcast on this subject is, we're not here to say that Johnny Depp isn't an asshole, right? But there seems to be some calculated she's very calculative in the way she does things.
Right.
Actually, when Johnny Depp's lawyer was giving his closing arguments, she was outside giving a press conference.
Right.
And so I was reading that, it was almost like she was trying to control the narrative that got out there.
That's part of the plan. Yeah,
exactly. And, it's almost like, okay, look, it's not even done yet. He's reading the closing remarks and you're outside. I guess, apparently wanted that to be the first thing they print. So exactly what you said, right? She's trying to control the narrative, which is something that we've seen from the beginning. And it obviously it went on, I think, for 3 weeks or so.
Yeah. It felt pretty long.
Yeah. So basically it started on July 9th. And this is, in the High Court in London. And basically it's basically, a trial of his libel suit against the tabloid newspaper called The Sun, which in England is just tabloid trash. It's like the equivalent of the National Enquirer here.
Right.
They have a bad reputation of just being shit, just fucking trash, right? Do you remember that actress that drowned out here recently?
Oh, yes, Rivera.
I can't remember. She was a Glee. I don't know.
Rivera,
Totally
right? Rivera?
Yeah, I think so. So I was on Twitter. I love Twitter.
Okay.
That's like my newspaper. While this was going, I think she had gone missing, and The Sun had publicized an article, not so much about like she was missing, but basically while she's missing and they're looking for her, they had publicized an article about like, something to do with like her personal life and why she's, had nothing to do with like, let's hope they find her. So there was outrage where people were like, this is why The Sun is trash, and they hope Johnny Depp takes them for all they have, right? Something like that. I can't remember what the article was, but basically they're like the National Enquirer. They're just trying to sell. And unfortunately, even though people don't respect The Sun in England, they're obviously doing this because they're selling. You know what I mean?
Right, of course.
They're getting those clicks. So I guess the issue was that they called him a wife beater, and we talked in our last episode is how he kept quiet for a long time and then wanted to, I guess, go all out, and he didn't care about his name at this point because he's lost everything, right?
Right.
Not everything, but he's basically been fired from Pirates of the Caribbean, you name it. Right. And so all these things started to come out. But I did read that it's a little different. It's not like he could lose, basically, based on what you said, based on what the judge says.
Right.
Because they were, I guess what they're saying is, with them calling him a wife beater, right? He's trying to prove that she was the abuser, right? So I guess it has nothing to do with Amber Heard. So if the judge even feels that even once, right, he did something that would fall into that category, then The Sun wouldn't be liable because it's not a lie, essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real mess. It's one of those things where it's also his reputation, that's on the line, whether it's a trash magazine or not. It's just one of those things where, he got fired from all his gigs, especially at Disney and all that, so, and Disney's trying to move forward with the new Pirates of the Caribbean, and, they were probably hoping he'd still be the character, so it's, and he's got a lot of, at stake here, because it's like, even if he loses that, other studios may not book him, may not, for any kind of job, because of that story, so he's defending his reputation, but also, he's going after that, The Sun, so, and righteously so,
So obviously his reputation was kind of tarnished. He got laid off. I guess he got fired from certain jobs. And I guess my question to you is, I know they're doing they're continuing with the Pirates of the Caribbean without him. Do you think it'll be just as successful?
That's a very good question. I think he was a very beloved actor, by the fans. And I think he made that franchise, and who knows, I don't know who else Disney has in mind, because he was already star power, so yeah. I don't know if Disney's looking for some young actor who's probably not as known to take that in the helm. It's like, will it be huge? Maybe not, people do love Disney, so there is that connection.
Yeah. But, and people forget too. Yeah,
so I don't know, if it'll be as good, or because he kind of made that character, and it's people really want him back, so I don't know. That's a very tough question.
Yeah. Is there, you being the Hollywood movie expert, have there been franchises where the main guy or character or woman is no longer there and they are replaced and the movie does just as good?
Yeah, I think so. I think that happened, going back to like the 80s, even 84, 85 was it? with the Back to the Future trilogy, you know, I mean, do you see those movies, by the way?
I did, yes.
So,
Finally, yay!
Finally. Hold on.
What is that?
There, you finally watched the movie.
I finally watched a movie that Leonie's talking about.
My bell is so full of rust because I've never had to use it because you're like, no. like,
oh,
I'm like,
so
on,
whenever I have seen a movie now that you say, yes.
First time, ladies and gentlemen, we're on episode 55 or whatever. So
that's the crowd. Yeah, sorry.
Right. All right. No, but honestly, look, I mean, I know it's happened many times before, but Back to the Future comes to mind, and I don't know if you know this story, but Eric Stoltz was the original Marty McFly, and they already started filming that movie with him. They might have been like a quarter of the way through, and I can't remember the girl's name, who was the lead girl at the moment. But anyways, like there was no chemistry. There was something, and mind you, he comes back from the Brat Pack. He comes back from the '80s John Hughes movies, so. All those movies, in the 80s are popular. He came from that era, so it's like, why wouldn't he be a good pick, Mm-hmm. But for some reason, there was no chemistry between him and the other characters, and he was much taller, and the girl and all that. It was just not. So they ended up firing him and the girl, and replacing them with Michael J. Fox, who they tried to get initially, but the studio said no because he was filming Family Ties and all that. So they finally made a deal. Like they begged on their hands and knees. They're like, "Can we get him?" And the deal was that he would film Family Ties during the day and Back to the Future at night. But that's just one case. That's just one example of where the main actor was replaced. And even the girl who plays his girlfriend Jennifer in the first movie is not the same girl in the second and third movie.
No. Because
they replaced her too. I think it was, what's her name? Elizabeth Shue, I believe. So it's one of those things where these actors, got replaced or didn't come back for whatever reason, and it's just like sometimes people notice and sometimes they didn't. But the movie still continued to be a super successful franchise,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I guess we'll see. I know they just got what's her name? Margot?
Margot Robbie?
Yeah.
See, I'm totally cool if they replaced her with Margot. I mean, if she was a new Mira,
character.
That'd be great because I think Margot's great.
She's beautiful.
Yeah, but there is a story that just came out 8 hours ago.
What?
And
there's a story. Ding ding ding! Breaking news. Brought to you by Leonie.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be fact checked, unfortunately. But the story reported online says in the menu it's naming two actors. Okay, it's naming Ezra Miller. He's the guy who plays the Flash in the DC Universe movies, and Amber Heard reportedly won't be fired from the DC Extended Universe. So that's the story. So, God, I don't know. Yeah. It looks like she might still have a role in the movie.
So let's talk about that. In the last episode, we talked about the double standard, right? Right. In this in this trial, and again, a lot of the stuff that we're talking about has been publicized, has been on YouTube, where, Johnny Depp is like being an asshole and she's saying, yeah, I fucking hit you, bitch. I didn't deck you,
right.
So let's say let's say she was the aggressor and he was the aggressor. We talked about that double standard, right?
Right.
So she keeps her job. There's evidence that she's abusive, right? We talked about the fact that she was arrested for domestic violence against her ex-girlfriend.
Right.
Do you remember that?
Yep.
So she still has the role. He doesn't.
Yeah.
Then the sister, Amber Heard's sister, said in court in the UK that she had never seen her sister ever be violent.
Right.
And then guess what? Video of her sister from years ago comes out. She has bruises and people are like, dude, what happened? She got into a fight with Amber Heard, her sister.
Right.
And she was like, I don't want to talk about it. And this is from, apparently she was trying to do a reality TV show.
Right.
And so it never went anywhere. But there's this footage of people saying, like, dude, you got into a physical altercation with your sister. Like, dude, and she, but you just said in court that you've never known her to be violent. And here there's footage from years ago of her beating the shit out of you.
Right. Yep.
So I don't know. Again, I'm not saying Johnny Depp's not an asshole. I don't know him. He might be an asshole, but it sounds like he's lost jobs, and there's audio of her saying she hit him.
Right.
Right. There's audio of her, in the ER where she basically severed his finger. There's evidence of her being an aggressor. Right. And she still keeps her DC job. Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of a double standard.
Yeah. There's kind of a, where was that? What was that photo? There was a photo, which is Johnny Depp and her, and who's the famous rock star? Was it Keith Richards?
Yeah, I think so.
It was, right? And his wife or girlfriend, whoever that was. And that's the photo where it was presented as evidence, right? Where she's like, he beat me, and this is evidence, or she was trying to say, no, I'm sorry. That was a secondary photo. The first photo was like, look what he did to me, right? And it was like some little minor, like, discoloration of her skin, like not even a bruise or anything, And then she was saying, look, he beats me, whatever. And then the secondary photo that Johnny Depp's lawyers presented was like, oh, the date of this photo was like the next day or something. And here you are, clearly no bruising, no black eye, no scarring. Oh, but look, Johnny Depp has a cast in his hand. Gee, I wonder where that came from, Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like one of those things where she was saying, oh, look at me. But yet he was never the one saying, she freaking broke my, my wrist or my pinky or whatever it was, severed her pinky or whatever. So he was never like flaunting that publicly, even though, they had issues and that she did things to him. He was just not one to, blame her publicly, but until now, of course, but.
Yeah. Now he's going all out, guns blazing.
Yeah. So that photo I thought was amazing, because it's like, wow. Like, I was just looking at that and I'm like, God, this girl just loves to lie, And then there was also another celebrity, right, that had an encounter with her in the elevator or something of either the building she lived in or something.
Yes. So she had said that she had been beaten up by him, and they said that they saw her the day, like that day, the day after, because they lived in the same building, and she had like no bruising, no nothing. In the last episode, you talked about the makeup artist saying that she didn't have anything the day after as well, because I think she came out on one of the night shows. The night shows the day that supposedly he did it, and the makeup artist says there was nothing there. Right. In one of the in this court, they also subpoenaed LAPD domestic violence officer who was there, and in court they basically said, I did not see any bruises or anything that said there was domestic violence, which was a big blow for Amber Heard's people. Right. You also mentioned the fact that the makeup artist, she had been seen coming out of when she put the restraining order against Johnny Depp, she had like a bruise on her face. Apparently she had asked the makeup artist, and the makeup artist said no. And then there was paparazzi pictures the day after that, and she had like clear skin, Right. A lot came out that some of the stuff we kind of knew already. There was a lot of text messages that were publicized, where it sounded like, and again, I want to be neutral here, right? Johnny Depp's conversations with Amber Heard's mother and father, and it almost sounded like they were on his side. They were basically saying, hey, Johnny, this is what her lawyers are saying she should do. Like, we know it's not true. We know it's not, this is from the mother and the father. Right. So either they're one, money hungry, right? Or two, there's complete truth to it, right?
Right.
So I mean, do you think I know if my parents always side with me, like, I mean, no, let's be real. They don't always side with me. But let's say I was being abused, you know what I mean? They would not be fucking kissing ass no matter how rich or whoever the abuser was, right? They would not be kissing his ass.
No, of course not.
And, you know, but then again, we don't know. People are shady, right? So what if, let's say it was true? There are people who are money hungry. Right. All these text messages, you guys, look them up on YouTube. There's a shitload of videos out there. And they literally are kissing Johnny Depp's ass. Amber Heard's parents are literally kissing his ass and saying, we know this isn't true, essentially. This is what Amber Heard's lawyers are recommending. And so, again, either they're money hungry or Amber Heard is straight up lying and they realize, hey, our daughter's crazy. Right. Now, in this trial, they also were trying to plant the seed that he was a drug addict, an alcoholic, right?
Yeah.
And again, this coming from the son's lawyers. And so he kept trying to deflect and say, yeah, but that doesn't make me a wife beater, right? And then we also learned that she's on a lot of meds, a lot of psych meds.
Yeah, which explains a lot.
Yeah. Yes. And again, I'm a nurse, right? So I'm all about mental health and learning. But I also, you and I once talked, we kind of hashed it out in one of the episodes where I said, you know, does being narcissistic mean that you have mental health issues? And you remember we had that? I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah. Because I said that of course I'm paraphrasing here what I said, but it was something to the point where she has some mental illness, like that involves like her actions, like what she's doing, like you ever heard of the term of reality distortion field? It's kind of like she distorts her own reality. Like she will tell the world that no, the sky was red that day. Like no, the sky was red that day. Like she will make you believe because she believes it, even though the whole thing's a lie, you know? So yeah, it's like whether or not that's what's going on with her, I don't know, but there's something really, really wrong with her, because it's like you're starting to watch the dominoes fall, and then you realize that she really doesn't have anybody on her side that is saying like, oh no, I've known her since we were 12 years old, best friends, and she's just the perfect person and never lies, you know? There's just nobody, because it's like she's being exposed, you know?
Yeah. And then also TMZ, if I'm not mistaken, excuse me, she released a video of Johnny Depp kind of flipping out, right? He's drinking. You can see him pouring a big ass bottle of wine, a big cup, right?
Right.
He's like slamming shit. And so I guess TMZ was able to, I want to say it was literally this week, released video, the entire video, where she's turning the camera on and she's putting it there and she's kind of trying to hide the phone, right?
Right.
And then at the end of the video, when he's going through his whole tantrum, right, she kind of smirks like, oh yes, I got this motherfucker. Like,
right.
Have you seen it?
Yeah. She's trying to set him up, of course, you know. I mean,
yeah. Now again, all of us have been pissed off, right? Where we do shit and say shit and, you know.
Right.
So I guess what she released was kind of like where he realized, like the whole him slamming the cabinets, pouring himself some wine, but being an ass because he's pissed, right? That could be any of us, right? And then it kind of stops where he sees the phone and there's like a little like, you know, the video gets all like distorted and moving. What TMZ released was basically the entire thing. So, you know, when he sees the phone, right, and everything starts shaking and everything, at that point he walks away and leaves, and then you see her pick up the phone and she has like a grin in her face.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, I got him. But that's not the video she released. She cut herself out.
Of course.
In the beginning of the video, at the end of the video.
Right.
Which makes her look bad. Because like she literally was like, that face was like, yeah, I got you, motherfucker. Like,
of course. Yeah. Yeah, she just, once again, conspiring to, make him look bad. And it's like, all right, you're going to get caught, and it's going to backfire on her,
Mm-hmm. So now this is basically what's happening in the UK. And so we had already seen footage of her in the elevator with, oh my God, what is his name? I forgot his name right now.
Elon Musk?
No, the other guy. Oh my God.
The other guy she was with?
Yes. I cannot think of his name. I'm the worst podcaster ever.
What is he known for? What's the story? What?
Is it Fresco? No. Donnie? Oh my God. It's not Elon Musk. This is horrible.
Not James Franco?
Yes, thank you.
Is James Franco?
Yes.
Okay.
So we already had discussed that because everyone kind of knew that. But Elon Musk, going back to what you were saying, is something that came up in this trial. Elon Musk, before this trial started, had basically said that he felt they should just make up and let this go. Right?
Right.
But text messages were released where it seemed like he was playing for personal security. He had said prior to this that he had never had a relationship with her until like after they were divorced.
Right.
So the text messages that were released were basically showing that he was lying.
Interesting.
Because they hadn't been divorced. Because in the text messages, she had said she was going to court to put a restraining order against him. So Elon Musk lied.
And she was cheating on him with, she was cheating on Johnny Depp with him, right?
With him and the other Franco guy.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. So what I'm getting at is that Elon Musk, before this started, was like, you guys should just make up or whatever. Because maybe he knew this shit was coming out. But he did that to himself because he said the relationship, however short he had with Amber Heard, was after they were divorced. And text messages showed that it was before.
Wow.
Yeah. She called him, she had him on his phone as Rocket Man.
That's right.
Rocket Man.
And the funny story is I heard that he gave her a Tesla, was it? And he bugged it. So he's basically spying on her. He was listening in on her on conversations and tracking her GPS wherever she was going. So
then she accused him of that, right?
Yeah.
She didn't like it, but what the fuck? They're all crazy.
Yeah. Like, man.
So what do you think is going to happen? I actually don't know. Let's not go there. Let's go back to Amber Turd. Turd.
No, of course. Classy move. One
so
way to...
So this also came out.
Yeah. It came out of the wrong end. Yeah.
Yeah. So supposedly Johnny Depp had said that she either shit on his bed or one of her friends shit on his bed. And they swore it was her dogs. Do you remember hearing that?
Yeah, and I remember him saying that it's like there's no way because the dogs were small, and then also he was like that was like human size, and I'm sure there's a photo of it somewhere. I think it was presented, right? I think.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, oh God, I'm like, I mean, that's just such a sick joke, It's like that's something you do in grade school when you're really really gross and evil, Like who the fuck does that,
Yeah.
Like just ruin the bed, I mean the sheets and it's just like that's just gross. What's the point of that,
So Johnny Depp said, "I thought that was an oddly fitting end to the relationship. It was not left by the 3 or 4 pound dogs, right?
Right.
I was convinced it was either Miss Heard herself or one of her cohorts involved in leaving human feces on the bed. I wanted nothing to do with her. Not only that, the housekeeper actually did say that she had seen the dog shit before, and that the shit that was on his bed was not the shit from the dog.
Right. There's no way.
I was
There's
like,
no way.
Amber Turd. So that shit was Amber Turd was trending on Twitter that day.
That's awesome.
Who shits? I mean, I'm sure women are crazy. Let's just, especially, jealous women are crazy, but we're crazy. But I've not heard of this before. I'm sure it's been done before. Shitting on someone's bed.
Yeah. Outside of a sexual act. Yeah. That's just bizarre.
Is that a sexual act?
Oh, yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh, yeah. Dude.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
What are you into, Leonie? No, I'm just kidding.
No. You can go back and Google Chuck Berry or who's the other one that was accused from Jerry Maguire? What's his name? Showing the money. Cuba Gooding Jr.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Google those two guys and you'll read those stories and you're just like, what the fuck? You're like, who's into that shit? Literally, like, who's into, you know what I'm saying? Like, who? Look, whatever, whatever gets people off, but I'm just like, that's just, I don't know. It's gross. It's gross. And the thing is, like, you can't mess around with that, like, too, sexually. Cause it's like, you're gonna get infected or sick. You're gonna get a nasty infection or sick. So, but yeah, people are into that stuff.
Yeah. Ugh. Horrible.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
So, also in this trial, Johnny Depp's family and exes came on to defend him and say that this is not anything, they had way longer relationships, I guess, than Amber Heard did.
Right.
Like, they just said this is not something that they've ever seen. I don't know. But also, people were talking about Amber Heard's current, I think she just got a role recently, and she was dating the director's friend. So a lot of people are saying Amber Heard is this type of person that, basically calculates who she's dating, to try to get certain roles or,
Yeah, we have a word for that, by the way. When I used to work in radio, we have a word for that.
What is it?
We call them starfuckers.
Starfuckers, please enlighten me.
In fact, Nine Inch Nails, Trent Reznor wrote a song called Starfuckers Incorporated. But yeah.
It's based on that?
I mean, yeah, it is. Yeah, but it's just one of those things where people that want to climb the ladder or, get to the next famous person, whatever, that's what we call them.
Yeah. Interesting. So also in this trial, we saw that there was a lot of information on Amber Heard being physically and verbally abusive towards Depp. But it almost seems like no one seems to give a shit about that. And that really annoys me. Do you think it's like just people just don't want to believe that Amber Heard is crazy?
No, I think they believe she's crazy, but like I said, the story got buried back in March because of COVID, and that's unfortunate. Good for her, bad for him, and bad for the actual hashtag Me Too movement, like the actual people, the actual abusers, and the abusees, people, the women that have suffered and people that have suffered, it's like, it's bad for all that because it's like, she made a big deal about this. Now she has to own up to the truth, and which she's not. And it's like, look, she clearly was abusing him, and that needs to be addressed more publicly than just the YouTubers out there, the YouTube channels that, that are spilling out the truth daily. It's like, I don't know why the mainstream media just doesn't want to touch it. It's like they think she's the princess, even though they don't put her in any kind of light. They actually don't even report on her. But I think that's the problem. They should be reported on. I don't know what the problem is, But it's bad, and it's sad. It's sad because it's like, you know, she's getting away with it basically.
Yeah, that's the sad part.
And you know, he's not getting his day in court. You know, it's like he's not getting, and he's not doing it for money. You know, it's like whoever wins this trial, basically their team has to pay for the legal fees of the other team. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like somebody's going to walk away with $50 million, $100 million or anything. You know, I mean, maybe Johnny's going after the son for a specific amount of defamation or something, you know, but in terms of her versus him, it's like, I'm sure she would like to take his money, but the thing is, like, he's like, look, I don't want to go after her for money, whatever, but it's just there's a principle here, you know, it's clearing my name, you know, and it's like, at this point, I don't see anybody's name being cleared. It's like, you know, the truth has come out to paint her in the guilty light. And it's a great painting because there's so much evidence, you know, and I'm loving it. All I can hope for is that the judges come out and say, yeah, you know, the son is guilty or she's guilty or whatever, you know, because it's like.
Yeah. I have a feeling that the son might win. The reason I think that, again, it comes down to, was the son lying, right?
Right.
When they called him a wife beater.
Right.
And so it should be very interesting.
It's possible. It's possible that she provided them with, you know, evidence that made it look, you know, genuinely clear that he was the wife beater. You know what I'm saying?
Now, when you say wife beater, so I understand what you're saying, but I think she's not on trial here. He is.
Right.
He and the son, right?
Right.
So I'm a big fan of court TV. So what the lawyers were kind of saying was that the lawsuit isn't against Amber Heard, right? It's literally, you know, let's say they were both aggressive towards each other, right?
Right.
The lawsuit is only saying, you know, did the son lie, you know, in calling him that? Or if there is enough evidence that maybe he was, the son would get off.
Right.
Which I thought was like interesting. That's why I think it's like 50-50.
Yeah.
And then I believe there's one in the US coming up, right?
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
But I think you're right, though. I think that all she has to do, or all the son has to prove, is that she provided them some evidence. Mind you, it doesn't have to be real evidence, right?
Yeah.
It could be a makeup, like I said, that special effects makeup photo that shows, look at what he did to me. And that was good enough to run with the story. And then all they had to do is print one photo, and then she had to just confess 17 more occasions, which are probably all fake and lies, you know? And that was enough for the son to run the story, you know? And that's probably how the son might win. That's unfortunate, but that's how this might turn out. And it's super unfortunate because he doesn't get to clear his name properly, and he's still going to be unemployed. Like, he's not going to be, you know, an actor who's wanted, you know, for a role. I mean, he might be, who knows, but at least Disney probably won't hire him, you know?
Yeah. Disney's probably like, I want to stay away from this drama.
Right. But interestingly enough, the rival studio to Disney, Warner Brothers, is like, nope, we're doubling down because we're going to keep her on the payroll and not fire her from the DC universe, you know?
Yeah,
so,
which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm just like, fuck, you know? It's like, what the hell, you know?
Yeah, because again, what I said earlier, right? She was arrested for domestic violence against her ex-girlfriend.
Right.
That's out there, right?
Yep.
And not only that, there's audio of her saying, no, Johnny, I didn't fucking punch you. Ooh, that was really loud. Sorry. I didn't punch you.
Right.
I fucking hit you. There's a difference.
Right.
Now, can you imagine if I don't know. Yeah, there's a definite double standard. And
it's like
the reason I tell you guys this is because I have girlfriends who are fucking crazy. And they always act like the guy's a problem.
Right.
I'm not naming no names, Leonie.
No, let's do an episode.
Some of my girlfriends are fucking crazy.
Let's do an episode. Let's out names. Let's out people here.
Yeah.
It's okay. They don't listen anyways.
Yeah, they don't. Nobody I know, except for like a handful of people, if that, listen to this podcast.
That's funny. That's funny.
But yeah, it's crazy. And me being a woman, you know, obviously I know because of my girlfriends, and I don't know if it's my personality trait where I have been very honest with my girlfriends, and I have said like, no, I've sided with the guys before because I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
my girlfriend's being crazy right now.
yeah. No
And I'll
girl
call
wants
them out
to,
on it.
not one girlfriend wants to hear that.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
they
that,
know I'll be as honest as, you know, I'll be like, well, okay, can I tell you this? I'm totally getting sidetracked. Can I tell you? So
is this
one
off,
of my
is this off
girlfriends,
the record or on the record?
I don't know, let's leave it on the record.
Okay,
Or maybe I'll delete it. I don't know.
that's up to you. I'll leave it up to you.
My girlfriend, who we will leave unnamed, had basically said that she had caught her guy masturbating to porn.
Okay,
And
that's not a problem.
wait, no, I don't think it's a problem. But wait, she was offended. But I also knew that she wasn't putting out at all 'cause she was tired. And, you know, women do that. They're tired. And so I said, would you rather he be jacking off, right,
Right,
to porn in your own house or cheating on you?
right.
And she was like, you know, I hadn't thought of it that way.
God. Okay. Yeah.
But she had already made a scene with him. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm that friend, basically. That's like, well, you know, what do you expect? He has to get off sometime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's doing it in your home. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like, look, it's not that you absolutely have to provide that for him. You know, it's part of the relationship, and whatever, you know, deal you have between, you know, man, woman in the relationship, you know, because people say, hey, I like it 16 times a week, or some might say once a week is fine, you know, whatever. And it just so happens that he needs it more than her, and she's not even, you know,
yeah,
providing at all. Then it's kind of like, well, what do you expect? You know, it's like, you know, a guy has to find, and it's, trust me, it's better that it happened that way than him cheating on her, because then, you know, if he were to cheat on her, he would come home some kind of STD, HIV, something, like, you don't know, right? Like something could happen, you know? And it's like, well, would you rather want that, or would you rather just like be like, oh, I caught him and it was awkward? I'm like, yeah, it's awkward, but get the fuck over it. Cause it's just like, any guy who says they don't do it is a liar. Every guy has done it. Every guy does do it, whether in a relationship or not. Okay.
Yeah. And I guess the point that I was trying to make was that I'm very neutral. I will not just side with my girlfriend. Like, if the girl's in the wrong, right?
Right.
So let's say Amber Heard was my friend. I would be like, I would call her out on it. And I would be like, yeah, he might be fucking drunk. Johnny Depp might be drunk. Johnny Depp might get mad, but you're fucking poking at his ass.
Right.
You're pissing him off on purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm that type of friend that I've told my girlfriends that.
Right.
I had a girlfriend. I'm not going to name her. I love her. She's one of my best friends. And she one time was like, you know, why do I attract the crazies? My reaction was like, no, bitch, you pick them.
Yeah.
They're not the problem.
That's the truth.
You're the fucking problem.
Yes, that's the truth. That's truth right there. It's like you're right. You picked them. It's not that. It's like, oh, how did I end up in this stupid bad situation? It's just like, no. You said yes because you're, you know, you were, you know, you fell for the charm or whatever, right? You fell for the, you know, the rico suave, and you fell for the charm, and you fell for the guy, and you're like, fuck, I don't care, he's so hot, you know, or it's like, oh, he's so amazing, or look at him, he's so rich, you know, whatever, fill in the blank, right? Whatever, you know, and then you said yes. So it's like, you never stopped to check, hey, is he a good guy? You know, like, is he somebody that, you know, I can actually...
Good guy or woman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So what do you think is going to happen with this whole Amber Heard Johnny Depp? Because the next court trial is out here in the States.
That's where it's going to get ugly, because the gloves are going to come off even more so. Right now,
I feel like the gloves are off already. Yeah.
Well, they are, but it's all the drugs. The gloves are off for a scandal. you know, and for influential reasons, you know. At first I was thinking, what are his lawyers doing? Because they were painting mind you, they were painting him a picture of like, hey, he uses 12-year-old marijuana, you know, his daughter. Like, hey, he hangs out with Paul Bettany and is giving him cocaine and all that. And I was thinking, whoa, what's going on here? Why is this coming out, right? And then I realized they're setting her up because her people were going to come out and say, or the defense on her side, whatever, they're going to come out and say, oh yeah, he's the big drug user, you know. And
which is what they did in the UK.
Yeah, but before they did that, he came out and said, yeah, this is what I've done. Am I proud of it? No. Am I getting help for it? Yeah. Have I gotten help for it before? Yeah. But, you know, so he's showing you his cards so that later there's no blindside with like, well, you're just the drug user and here's this. She got blindsided because of that one photo. Did you see the photo where they were showing the lines of cocaine?
Yes. So I saw a breakdown of it.
Yes.
So she submitted that picture. It was a line of cocaine, a bunch of shit.
Right.
And it somehow turned out there was paparazzi shots of her sister with all of that shit.
Right.
But they were making it seem like that all of that is Johnny Depp stuff.
Right.
And then, you know, remember we talked about like people out there in the internet are better detectives than the police?
Oh, yeah.
They were able to show pictures of Amber Heard's sister with all of that shit.
Right. So why would she have it?
Yes.
Not only that, why would her initials?
Stuff that's admissible, though. I think that's the sad part.
Her initials are on the little drug bag that hold all the tools, the mirror and the razors and the cocaine and all that. Her initials are on the box.
Yeah. Did you see the picture of Johnny Depp passed out?
Yes. The ice cream. Yeah.
So let's just say okay, we already know Johnny Depp does drugs and is an alcoholic, right?
Right.
She was basically there's this whole character of the monster. That was kind of like his alter ego in his mind, and
right.
Anyways, that makes him look bad, right?
Right.
We can tell that he's not perfect.
Right.
In a lot of the footage, audio that has been leaked in the last 5-6 years, because again, everything is public. You can find it on YouTube, right?
Right.
He's not perfect. But you can see the way that she's setting him up. That picture that she submitted was literally all the shit that her sister had. Yep. But when they submitted it to the court, it was like, this is Johnny Depp. Look at these lines of Coke, right? It could have been fucking baking soda for all I know.
Right.
Everything was so perfect.
Yes,
like,
yeah.
Then the purse, the purse that was in the picture, the coffee mug that was in the picture, the cup. Anyways, they found someone, God bless the internet, was able to find Amber Heard's sister with all that shit.
Yep.
Like the day of or the day before.
Yep.
And they were like, this picture is obviously fucking staged.
Right.
But Amber Heard and her people and the Sun's people submitted it as evidence.
Yep.
But my thing is, do you think the judge is actually seeing this?
No, that's the thing. That's why I'm the way I understand it is because it takes so long between the judges making decisions and all that people do all this propaganda stuff, whether in print or online or on the news, because they know the judges are watching and they know that somehow it does influence them, you know? So that's why her lawyers were like, hey, trial's over, but go out there and give this great speech, which by the way, people were booing at, which is great.
Yes. And that's another thing. If you guys, I think from like literally day one of this 3-week ordeal, when he would come out of the courtroom, he was getting flowers. People were like, oh my God. And then when she would come out, she would be like, you know, the first day she went into court, she was holding hands with her lawyer.
Right.
And I think it was her girlfriend or her current girlfriend or someone in her camp, right? And they were holding hands in solidarity.
Right.
But when she would leave, so every day he would leave, people were cheering, and then when she would leave, they were either booing or it was dead silence.
Right.
So obviously people in the UK, we kind of can tell who they're siding with.
Yeah, I think so. And that might play a big role because, like I said, if these judges are influenced, by in the media and what they see and hear over the next month or two, then that's definitely gonna play a role. And that's mind you, that's very different than the system we have here, because we have, sometimes we have juries that are sequestered, right? They're not allowed to watch TV and radio, none of that stuff in certain like murder trials, right? And we have judges that have to be, very, objective in the situation and just look at just the facts, not hearsay, not he said, she said, not made up, stuff or rumors, none of that. But over here, it seems like anything goes. That's why, I refer to it as the spaghetti incident. It's just like throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks, and hopefully some of it sticks, and that's enough to make him look bad, and that's what they're doing, But let me ask you this. Let me ask this question to you though. So now think of just Johnny Depp, the actor. Okay, when I say the word Johnny Depp to you, what do you think of? What memory do you have of seeing Johnny Depp in public, acting with the public, in terms of whether fans or, like what memory comes to mind? Is there any at all?
Okay, so Johnny Depp to me is one of the last Hollywood stars. And when I say Hollywood stars, I'm thinking of like the glamour, right?
Okay.
So I think of him as one of the last glamorous stars. I feel like a lot of the actors now are just people like me, right? Everybody wants to be a fucking actor, YouTube series.
Right.
So I don't know if that answers your question. So when I think of Johnny Depp, I think of like one of the last glamorous,
okay,
stars of Hollywood that
any
look up to that you can't touch.
Right. Is there any like video clip or news clip that you've seen a video of him talking to anybody in particular, or like being interviewed or meeting someone that like stuck with you, or you're just like, wow, that's amazing. Like, I think I love him even more because look at him. He's such a great person. Is there anything like that you've seen?
Yes, actually, when he goes as what's his role in Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yes, that's exactly where I was going with my answer.
Him going
Davy
to
Jones. What's his name? Oh my God, I can't think of his name.
Jack Sparrow.
Yes, Jack Sparrow.
When he goes,
yes.
I'm a nurse. He literally goes to children's hospitals.
Yes.
Oncology wards.
Yep.
In character.
Yeah.
And even after he was fired, he still goes in character to see these beautiful children who are dealing with shit that most of us will never have to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always think of that clip when and he's in character. He's in full character, acting like the character.
Full
like,
character.
Just like, come here, young lady, come say hello, and this poor girl is in tears because she's a huge fan, and he's like, come give me a hug, and she's going through some shit with cancer and fucking, really sick or maybe terminal, who knows, right? But he like hugs her, and like to me that was one of the most touching moments I've ever seen, because I'm just like, that's amazing. Like, who goes out of their way to dress up and then stay in character and meet with these these poor kids that are super sick and idolize him? To me, that's one of those images that sticks with me, because it's not just the only one. Every interview I've seen with him, he's always been the nice guy, the cool guy, the calm guy, the like, how can I help you guy? Like, what can I do for you? Like, hey, like, very courteous to women, especially, and men, and very gracious, and always taking photos and always signing autographs, and I'm like, that's a memory I'll always have of him, whether he turns out to be a good guy or a bad guy, whatever, but I think he's a good guy. And,
I think so too.
That's what he does. And I think that's something super special, that he cares about the fans, because, he came from nothing, he was just a kid in a band until, Wes Craven discovered him for Nightmare on Elm Street, but he was, maybe he, like, sure, fame brought him to big places in the world, but he's still very, passionate and happy, and for the fans, and that speaks volumes to me. Now, when I see her in videos, it's always some TMZ fucking scandal, It's like it's like a video of him and her, and like some fan wants a photo with him, and she's like, no, let's go, or like just trying to walk it off and ignore people, and it's just like,
yeah.
I'm like, you're nobody. I'm like, you're only famous because of him, and it's like, how are you not as grateful for any kind of fan base you might have? It's like, what's the story? What's wrong with you?
And let's go back to that, Leone. He's doing that for free.
Right.
They're not paying him.
Right.
And he's in full character.
Yep.
Now, Amber Heard said that she gave money to Children's Hospital, but there's no record of it.
Exactly. Because apparently somebody else wrote that check.
Well, and it wasn't her money.
It was not her money, exactly.
And now she's on like defending herself. Well,
Right.
that's not pertinent to
Right.
this. And he's taking time out of his now again, what I'm getting at and what we said in the last episode, this is not us trying to say he's not an asshole, right? He could
Right.
well be an asshole.
Right.
This is not trying to minimize the Me Too movement, right?
Right.
Because we are all about that. You and me and Leone
Yeah.
are like, we are all about that.
Yeah.
But we also understand that there are women, just because we're women doesn't mean we're bitches.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? And so I respect that about him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I also realize that he's a human being
Yeah.
who was in the limelight really young. And not only that, River Phoenix, who is Joaquin Phoenix's brother, died, of an overdose at the Viper Room, which Johnny Depp
Right.
kind of co-owned.
Right.
And so they brought that up in court as well, almost trying to blame Johnny Depp for his River Phoenix's actions.
Yeah, that's sad. That's sad.
That was sad.
That's not even
fucking low.
Yeah, that's low. That shit's low.
That's National Enquirer low
Right.
type of shit.
Right. Yeah, it's like who does that? It's like, it was probably one of his best friends, and it's like, obviously people have substance abuse problems, but it's like, just because he died at the club or behind the club or whatever doesn't mean he was at fault,
Mm-hmm. But that's how the Sun's lawyers try to paint it.
Right.
So they were, like you said, they were just also trying to see what would stick to the fucking wall.
Right.
And, I'm hoping that the judge isn't naive. And like we talked about earlier, right? Johnny Depp's lawyers were giving the closing remarks, and Amber Heard was out giving her press conference because she wanted to control the narrative that
Right.
the press would print. Everything, like I said, like me and Leone have said in this episode and in the last episode of the Amber Heard Johnny Depp saga, is public. The
Yes.
deposition videos, everything is
Yeah.
public.
Yeah.
Go out there, search for it. Again, they're both assholes, right?
Right.
But Johnny Depp is not the only asshole.
Right.
She's fucking conniving.
Yeah, and that's yeah, that and being a manipulative
Manipulative?
person. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where it's just like, that's just a whole different tier of evil, because now she's playing people to side with her, or she's playing people, either for blackmail or for career choices or career moves or whatever. And it's just kind of like, God, see, the thing is, at least whether or not some of this stuff is true or not, whatever, the thing is, he kept it like, hey, this is a personal matter. And she's like, fuck you, I'm going to make it front news, and it's just like, that's wrong, that was a wrong move on her behalf, Mm-hmm. If she really had all these problems and really was abused, whatever, like, it's like, she should have, done things right and, not dragged this out and just, started, formulating lies and stuff, which ultimately just came back to burn her, and it's just like, well, now it looks like you're the liar. It looks like you're the one, who's trying to control, this story. And it's just like, that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because there are real women out there who are going through this and have gone through this and, everything that the Me Too movement, it stands for. It's like, it's just one of those things where it's just like, it's so sad because it's like, somebody out there who's gone through this is listening and watching all this that's going on with her. And it's just like, how dare she? It's like, she's making us look bad. She's making us look like we're crying wolf and it's not real. And, when in reality, he's the one who's the victim,
Yeah. So I guess for anyone out there listening to this, I think we may have a third episode on this with whatever happens in the U.S. in the court date, but we're seeing a pattern. Again, whether Johnny Depp used drugs, right? Abused drugs, is an alcoholic. That's not what's being questioned.
Right.
Right? The big question here is, did she over exaggerate and accuse him of stuff? So what we saw in the UK trial was that the LAPD officer said, I did not see anything, any bruises, anything. And her, the LAPD officer being an expert,
right,
literally was subpoenaed to go out there and basically say, I didn't see anything.
Yep. And there's one thing specific to that with LAPD. I don't know how other police departments work, but LAPD, I will tell you this because I've seen the stories with my neighbors, okay? If LAPD shows up to your house, okay, and you have bruises on you, and you're a female, they're taking your husband. He's going to jail. No questions asked. He's going to jail. They don't even want to hear the he said, she said story. We're taking you in. If the man has bruises, they're taking the wife in. That's pretty much like it's one of those things where like they're not messing around, like we're taking you in, we'll sort this out later, and for whatever reason, when the LAPD showed up, she didn't say anything about that. She didn't say, look at this, he hit me. Right? If she were to have a bruise on her face and she said, look at this, he hit me, his ass would have been arrested right there. No money can buy that. His ass would have been arrested, taken in, booked, and then sorted out later.
Yeah, exactly. They would sort it out later. And none of that happened because
Right.
he was not even in this same area.
Right.
He was in another fucking city.
Yep.
And so in this Sun libel court trial, the LAPD said, I didn't see anything, being an expert, because she's part of the, department that's, an expert on this. She didn't see anything out of the ordinary.
Right.
She did say the apartment looked disheveled. There was shit everywhere, right? But as far as Amber Heard physically, there was nothing that showed domestic violence.
Right.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Because it seems like this is an ongoing drama. And to be completely honest, what I'm seeing is a double standard. She's not losing shit.
Right.
And he's already lost everything.
Yeah. If these stories are true, these stories that we just talked about on this episode right now that are just breaking, these stories that are saying that Warner Brothers is not going to fire her, then it's like that's not good. That's not good.
No. Double standard.
Yeah.
And as a woman, I am a fucking woman. My father was an alcoholic, and I've said this in several episodes. He was an asshole. Still kind of is. Little vain, and you know what I mean? He's sober, but the vainness is always going to be there. The narcissistic side is always going to be there.
Right.
But based on what you said, we called the cops because he was just throwing shit out of the place. The cops literally said, he hasn't put hands on any of you, right? But we're going to have you pack your shit and leave. They waited for my dad to leave. Anyway, so I guess we are going to find out who wins in the end, because this is an ongoing saga.
Right.
Because we have the next court date coming up. And I don't know. I feel bad for Johnny Depp because it's obvious she's crazy. And it doesn't look good for him in the long run, I think. Double standard.
Yeah. It does not. And I don't know how people are still rallying around her, but it's just, I don't know. Just is, we have very strange times we're living in. People with so much time are just quick to cancel someone, and yet somehow she's coming out of this unscathed, and it's just like, I don't know why, and I don't know why she's going to keep her movie roles with the DC universe, because, that's a big money making, franchise that she's a part of. And then, of course, that's going to keep landing her future roles, whether indie films or whatever. And it's just like, that's unfortunate. It's like, people choose to work with her. I get it. But, she should not get to mouth off and be like, oh, look at me. He was an abuser. Look at me. I'm a survivor. And it's like, look, you're not a survivor. There are some poor women out there who are true survivors. And don't you dare compare yourself to them,
Yeah. Yeah. So, I guess we'll see what happens. Yeah. So, thank you everyone if you've made it this far. I think we were all over the place today. But we will definitely see what happens in the next Johnny Depp Amber Heard saga.
Yeah.
When they come back to the States, we're waiting for the verdict from the judge. So we'll probably discuss that in the future, and then we'll probably see what happens out here. Because again, a lot of the things that we discussed in the first episode, there's a lot more information that's being made public. And it should be very interesting.
Right. It's going to get juicy. Because trust me, there's more that's going to come out. And being here in the States, it's going to get even nastier, I think. But
oh, for sure.
Yeah, we'll see.
For sure.
We'll see.
Well, thank you. Let's do this again.
Sounds like fun.
Yay. And if you've made it this far, we'll see you next time. Bye. That was episode 23 of the Purposely Curious podcast. Make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on most podcast platforms, and follow us on social media at Purposely Curious on Instagram and at Purposely C Pod on Twitter. That's Purposely, the letter C, Pod. Until next time, you know what to do.